Okay, good. And let's listen on in. Shout out to Charlie Cremini, whatever his name is, right? Hilarious thing that happened to him before Mad Marchness began, before all of the excitement began, is that he got his account hacked, which is it's absolutely not hilarious. But the fact that it was a forex account, like right during the conference tournament, it was just hilarious. It's literally hilarious to me. It's amazingly hilarious. So the number 1 seed, we're already coming through, and who else but UConn? I'm gonna be honest, guys. Obviously, you know me, and you know what I've been saying before. I feel like UCLA, considering the fact that they have so many opponents in common, UCLA has won a lot of the in common opponents, and also having 10 more, 10 more, 10 more quad 1 wins. It's hilarious to me that they would end up going ahead and being the number 1 overall selection. But hey, it's UConn. What else can you do? What we can do is we can look at, obviously, everybody celebrate the fact that they ended up winning and getting away with the seed. So shout out to them. But yeah, in my humble opinion, it should not have happened like that, but hey, UConn got it like that. Obviously, the committee respects UConn in a way that no other organization is afforded. So shout out to UConn for doing that. Poor UTSA though. My Notre Dame fan. I stand with Muffet McGraw. Okay. I stand with Muffet McGraw. Either way, though, MTSU, very sad for them. MTSA, apologize. Very sad for them. We also see Iowa State going ahead and getting the 8th seed, right? And they will be playing against Syracuse. That's an interesting matchup for me. I feel like when you have the down low presence of Uche Ezoje going against someone like Audie Crooks, Uche Ezoje is going to eat. I don't think that Iowa State will make it out this 8 seed unless they don't have the health of one Dominique Dawes. We'll talk about that later. North Carolina, in case you can't see, I'm in the way, but North Carolina goes ahead and secures the 4th seed for this Fort Worth region. I'll fill this in, at least my bracket in, a little bit later. But North Carolina, an easy matchup against Western Illinois. North Carolina, they can be very good defensively. It's going to be interesting to see if Iowa State does end up advancing. I would love to see this a battle potentially between the two, but obviously Iowa State is going to end up advancing against UConn, so maybe we should just shut our lips, right? Is there a good site to go to watch sports? Hey, there's a good entertainer right here. I'll send it to you later once we're done revealing this bracket. Maryland in the same bracket is none other than UConn. Brenda Bob Freeze probably isn't feeling very happy about this. Maryland, though, going against North Carolina, should North Carolina advance, I'm going to go ahead and say that that's a pretty good matchup for Maryland. Obviously, a little bit depleted, but Aluchi Akanwa can make some noise. Murray State. I'll forever hate Murray State for what they did to my homegirl, girl. My homegirl ended up going there her freshman year. She couldn't get her finances right, and unfortunately, she wasn't able to get a degree. So, yeah. The Cyclones aren't going anywhere. You're definitely right, Pat. They might not even go past Syracuse, right? But they're definitely not going to go past Iowa versus UConn, right? Highlight of Audie Crooks giving up in the defense this season. We are going to play Syracuse. Probably right. So let's go ahead. They're revealing the 2 seed right here of this section, right? The Fort Worth region. Ohio State. So Ohio State, them being a 3 seed, I like that. I thought that they made a very strong push in the last half of the season, and they have to go against HU. You know, shout out to all of my Howard girls. Obviously, I'm an HBCU graduate. Howard sneakily very good in the esports space, the football space, and now rounding up and being very good in the basketball space. I believe both their men's and women's teams ended up advancing. So shout out to HU. Don't know how good they are going to be against the Ohio State, but all the love in the world to them. A 6 seed. Notre Dame does get it. Pat, get angry. No, just kidding. They're in the same region, I guess, as UConn. Who knows if they'll be some of the last standing especially considering the fact that there is a lot that they need to go through, especially with personnel. If Ayanna Moore is hitting really well, they can be great. They can easily go against Fairfield, but Notre Dame versus the Ohio State, very interesting. Ohio State, very full team, but then you have the athletic guards going against each other, and Jelani Cambridge and also Hannah Hidalgo. If Hannah's able to slow them down, maybe Notre Dame can hang in there, but will they be able to get past the Sweet 16? That's something that I feel like it's going to be very hard for Coach Ivy, and she might just have another one. You're angry? Well, guess what? You probably don't have to worry about them because the Ohio State is probably good, right? We do have Vanderbilt right here. Let me move a little bit so you can see that Vandy going ahead. And in that region too, trust me, if Notre Dame is able to somehow beat Ohio State, it's going to be hard for them to go against Vandy. Vandy at least, needs a little bit more work inside the interior game. That's why I feel like they had troubles against people like Ole Miss. But shout out to Michaela Blakes. Unfortunately, didn't end the year the way that she wanted to. She's probably looking for revenge. And guess what? High Point going to be the victim of them. Shout out to High Point, though. I feel like they've been in this tournament mix for the last couple of years. So High Point never feeling down. The Panthers, everybody really enjoying the fact that they're even in the dance. Guys, you have to remember that just making it to Selection Sunday is a dub for a lot of these programs, right? So shout out to High Point. Illinois in the same region. Vandy and Illinois. Guys, I don't know. Illinois is a very young and fun team. They have some great defensive presence with Parchment down low. They are going against Colorado, though. Where Colorado, if their guards get hot, and they also have a very good forward, too, they can be interesting. I think that the Illinois versus Colorado game is going to be a very fun, sneaky, good look in that region so far. Fairfield about to ruin Bordy's day? Hey, man, if Fairfield could go ahead and knock off somebody like Notre Dame, that means they're able to stop Hannah Hidalgo. That means Ayanna Moore isn't hidden. Vanessa Jesus isn't doing well. Hey, if Fairfield's able to do that, all the power in the world to them. Maction, baby. It's still alive and popping here. But obviously, looking at the region so far, I wish they had a graphic, but they're going to talk about it. Obviously, I gave my first look at it. I'm telling you guys, that Illinois versus Colorado game is going to be fun because you have a lot of good sophomores and also a lot of good freshmen. Destiny Jackson, she's a very good hooper. Defensively, though, maybe she can give it up to somebody like Wooten, the seniors for that Colorado team. I think the interior, though, when you see Parchment and they're going to have, I believe her name was Warren, when you see her put on that Darkwing Duck black mask and go at it down low, it's going to be fun. If Illinois does advance, Illinois going against a team like Vandy might be a little bit in upset territory, right? But we're already going to the Sacramento region. Let's fire it up, right? This year, I'll admit, UConn has a cupcake bracket. Ohio State, who do you have? Ohio State, you have Notre Dame, you have Vanderbilt. I think they can blow them out pretty easy. The path to the Final Four, as you said, Pat, I think it will be pretty light for them. UConn is just seeing UConn. UCLA, they're giving slight golf claps. Obviously, not very happy about the fact that they went against so many quality opponents and ended up not being able to get a UConn. The UConn bias is real, guys. I'm not going to lie. The UConn bias is real because if you talk to anybody who voted and said that UConn was going to make that, it should have been the number one overall seed, they said in a blind test, they will probably pick UCLA. It's kind of funny. But either way, the bracket ends up working along with them. Let's see some of these other teams, right? Oklahoma State, shout out to them, Staley Hurd. I will say this, they should have advanced against Kansas State University. Unfortunately, Staley Hurd got called with that reach-in foul. Maybe they'll have a little bit of redemption, but Princeton makes it in, which I believe makes it so that we will get 2 Ivy League bids potentially, right? Because I believe it was Harvard that ended up advancing, if I'm correct. I might be wrong about that. But shout out to the Ivies going ahead and getting Princeton in, right? Especially after losing somebody like Caitlin Chen. Minnesota in the same region. Shout out to Minnesota. They can be a very fun team as well. I love Maya Battle doing her thing. They're a really fun team. They've been injured, but they've overcome a lot. Beaten Ohio State a couple times. Have gotten hot towards the end of the year. Just couldn't beat Ohio State in the conference tournament. Green Bay is a team to watch out for. A very fun mid-major. Them against Minnesota. Minnesota should take care of business, but if the down low gets it crazy, I'm fine. I'm watching U.S. versus Dominican Republic. What do you miss? Roddy, I don't think UConn will have much of a barrier to the path of the select Final Four. To be honest, maybe Vandy makes it interesting for them, but it should be all okay. Ole Miss, though, that's interesting. Ole Miss, I feel like the winner of Green Bay and Minnesota, they should be able to clear because of their physical play. I think that if they end up advancing, and UCLA, I feel like they should be Oklahoma and Princeton. If they end up advancing, that will be a very good physical test for UCLA. Really going to be an interesting Sweet 16 scenario, right? Gonzaga getting it in. I'm proud of Gonzaga. You used to have a great team of Von Eacham. Then we also had the Trend Sisters who were doing their thing. For them to be back in this, winning in the WCC, I love that, right? ND Tears, give me that. I don't think that ND probably can make it, you know? To be honest, I'll be completely honest. In this region, though, you also have Duke. Shout out to Duke, the Dukies, going ahead and really turning around their season from earlier in the season, terrible out of con schedule, going ahead and wrapping it up and really making waste of the ACC. We'll see who else they'll have to go against in this region. We got North Carolina, ND, Ohio State, Vandy, and a whole bunch of teams that wouldn't be able to compete with their bench. Yes, exactly. Wouldn't be able to compete for your bench. Like, when I say that UConn's path to the Final Four should be easy, there's not even, like, last year, it was so hard, right? USC, thankfully, you didn't have to worry about them because of Juju Watkins. Should be much easier, right? And getting the belt twice in the same season if ND is able to even make it, right? Will they be able to make it past the round of 32 and also the Sweet 16? That's been really hard for them, and I feel like it's going to be even harder in this year. We are live, baby, Decline. We are in, and we are seeing the UCLA bracket, seeing as though UConn went ahead and got number one overall. Baylor's in here. Baylor versus Duke could be interesting. We'll see who that 11th seed is, but Baylor, I like this team a lot. Unfortunately, they've won some games that they should have won. They've lost some games that they should have won throughout this year. So maybe Baylor with a break, losing to Colorado. Hopefully they should be good. They'll be going against the best of Nebraska and Richmond, as we find out that Richmond is one of the first four out, which I feel like hurts. That means that Davidson isn't going to be in the bracket, won't be in the journey, but shout out to the A10. Nebraska, though, making it in that bubble. That will be an interesting contest between that two. I might just go live on Wednesday so we can watch that battle. LSU. The committee loves the LSU versus UConn matchup. UCLA matchup. So if things work out the way that I think they should, UCLA might be ending up going against Ole Miss and LSU back-to-back in consecutive years. That's crazy. Maybe LSU, though, is unable to compete with somebody like a Duke. They should be able to beat Baylor. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about the fact that Texas Tech is coming on into the action. Texas Tech, they're a very fun team. The Lake Raiders have done so much to build their program. Shout out to Snuda. Shout out to Bailey Maupin and crew. They're very sneakily good, and they've beaten some great competition. So a team like Villanova, who does have Bosco, I'm very excited to see that. Hey, Pat, guess what? Your conference has two people who made the tournament. Don't say that UConn was over here in the Cupcake Conference, right? It's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, right? But UCLA's path, obviously, a little bit harder, a lot harder, I feel like, than someone like UConn. But that being said, UCLA should still be able to take care of business against a team like LSU in the Elite Eight should LSU advance. But LSU does have to worry about the fact that you do have to beat a team like Baylor. They should be able to get that no problem. What else did we see? I wish we can go back to that. A team like Duke, if Duke is playing very good disciplined ball, then we should see a very close matchup. But if we see a matchup like we saw early in the beginning of the year, where Duke got destroyed by LSU, then guess what? LSU should have no problem cruising on up to the Elite Eight to go against somebody like UCLA. Ole Miss, though, I feel like will own that top half of the bracket and take care of business in that region. No obvious upsets. Maybe Minnesota might end up being in a close battle between the Nebraska and Richmond squad. Maybe Richmond upsets some folks and does their thing. They're able to go against Nebraska, which is entirely possible, right? Entirely possible. I do like Prince and crew. I think they should be able to advance. Maybe they're able to beat Baylor, and then we have some interesting things going on in that region. But so far, so good. Welcome on in, Eves. How the fuck did Villanova get a 10 seed? I don't know. I think again, like it's because of UConn. Pat, I'm telling you, I'm not even trying to be like because of UConn, but that shit is crazy to me, bro. And I really think it's because of UConn. I love Jasmine Bosco though, so give me more of her, bro. I'm not even gonna have it. Republic Dominicana, baby. Hey, I know Black Dominican today, man. I hope that Dominican Republic really lights it up against the U.S., right? That's something I actually really want to keep an eye on. We'll be filling out our brackets after the selection show. Then I'll go ahead and digest all the things that we're watching. But right now, let me just get into what you guys are saying. Let me go big head mode right here, seeing as though that they're going to commercial break, right? Gotta get those Capital One commercials with Charles, with Stanley, and also, excuse me, with my boy, I was about to say Stephen A. Smith, Steve Jackson in this bitch, bro. All right, let me catch up, right? Let me catch up. Yeah, UConn is getting to the Final Four. We don't even have to worry. UConn is going to make it to the Final Four. And UCLA, to be fair, should be able to make it. It will be a fun game between LSU, but I feel like this LSU team, even though they do have a lot of great players, that discipline factor, they really would have to get a lot of turnovers. Malaysia Fulwali would really have to be in her bag to really beat them. So I think that UCLA and UConn getting to the Final Four should be relatively easy. Maybe Dawn Staley for the first time in a long time. You know, usually I feel like it's South Carolina that gets an easier bracket. It's looking like UConn is probably going to look like the easier bracket. Maybe Dawn Staley has to go through a lot of very good opponents in order to get to the Final Four. We'll see, though. Texas also had a very easy bracket, too, so there are still some killer teams that we have yet to mention that both of those squads are going to have to get over the hump in order to get into. But, Roddy, you talking about that matchup against Notre Dame. I just don't know if Notre Dame will be able to beat a team like Vandy and even to get to the conversations to go against a team like UConn. Notre Dame might get beat, knocked out by a different Connecticut team. They have to play Fairfield. Okay, Pat, come on now. That'd be ridiculous. Hey, but shout out to the Maction, baby. Hey, USC without Juju unironically gave us the most problems during that run. It did. And if Juju were there, y'all would have had the hardest path. Instead, who ended up having the hardest path? I think it was all pretty relatively easy. Of course, South Carolina had some difficulties. Obviously, their match against Maryland, that was a close, contentious game. But I think everybody kind of had a pretty cool path of the first seeds last year, man. Kiki Iriafen put that team on her back. She did, man. Tapped into this DR game. Guys, I'm considering whether or not I stay on a little bit just so we can watch a little bit of that game. Obviously, because of Fox and copyright, it would be under heavy blur. But maybe we might like peek into that game for like an inning or two and y'all can talk about it. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. I do like that though. I do need to see the whole bracket now. Trust me, Roddy, as soon as we are done, I'm going to go ahead and write in all of it and then we'll go down to massage who I feel is going to end up winning. By the way, guys, since we basically have most of the streaming family here, exclamation point bracket, for all the participants last year, you should have already gotten an email email that asks you to come on in and come into the bracket for our March Madness tournament. I'm considering giving the top winner $25. It just depends on what my money looks like. We're going to go on and go back to the action. Let me catch back up real quick. Join the bracket, though. I am going to pin it so you guys know it's right here. Here's the bracket challenge. Ask me, DM me online to know what the password. Actually, the password is exclamation point hater. The password is exclamation point hater. So if you're watching this right now, you want to join in, exclamation point hater for the password, just like last year, right? Fuck ass commissions. I'm irritated as fuck. Looked like UCLA was very irritated as fuck too, you know? Texas Tech beating Nova, I fear. Ooh-wee. Yeah, I think that's going to happen. That's going to happen I feel like. The Longhorns will be on the same side of the bracket as UConn. I thought the committee might want to have that UCLA and Texas matchup, but it's looking like they might go ahead and get that Sacramento, right? They should be in fourth word. I think they should be in fourth word. I don't think they announced anything yet. Wait, Texas? I don't know what side of the bracket they are on. I have to know what side of the bracket that they're on. Iowa State do their thing. Iowa State is not going to win against UConn, bro. Okay, this is fourth word, so we are going to have... We are going to have the UCLA versus Texas matchup in the Final Four if Texas is able to take care of business. Missouri State and SF Austin doing their thing. I'm not interested in that game, to be honest, but shout out to the mid-majors doing their thing. Missouri State, them making it great, right? Oregon, my girl Katie Fiso is in the tournament at S. Atute. Them against Virginia Tech. Shout out to Carly. Carly is doing her thing. Carly Wenzel in that organization. But I feel like we're going to get another Oregon second weekend, or at least beating the first weekend, beating their first opponent. We'll see if they make it to the second weekend because they have to go get somebody like Texas. They're not going to make it to the second weekend. But shout out to Oregon. I think that they could beat that Virginia Tech squad with the amount of firepower that they have. West Virginia also in this section as well. Audi needs to play defense here, right? Going against Miami, Ohio. So the men, who knows if they made the tournament? You guys tell me, did they? I really don't know. But we do know that the women for sure made the tournament. Shout out to them going against West Virginia. West Virginia should be able to take care of some defensive business. Kentucky going ahead and finalizing their spot into the action. That'll be interesting to see who they're going against because I think Kentucky versus West Virginia. Kentucky, I feel like they have moments where they should play better ball than they do. That'll be a very fun second round matchup between them. But let's see who this 12 seed is before I say anything. Kentucky, though, Tony Morgan and crew, even with the defensive prowess of somebody like Jordan Harrison, I should think that they should be able to take care of business, right? James Madison, JMU. Again, we have to shout out to teams that have not only good results in their basketball team, their football team, I should say, but then also their basketball program as well. James Madison going against Kentucky. That Kentucky versus West Virginia matchup should be interesting, to say the least, right? Let's see who is in this Fort Worth region with Texas, though. You have Louisville in this. Let's talk about Texas versus the West Virginia and Kentucky battle. No guarantee that Texas will end up going to the Final Four, honestly, with those opponents hovering in the rafters, right? You have Louisville there. Should be easy. Win against Vermont. Vermont last year, y'all forget, they pushed the NC State with Sanaya Rivers and with Zaza and crew. So we'll see what they do. Alabama also in this area. I think Alabama versus Louisville will be a little fun battle should those two advance, right? Vermont, as I said, they're always into the mix and a feisty team to go against. But Vermont and Louisville and Alabama. Rhode Island! Oh, guys! Rhode Island being in the same spot as Alabama. We gotta get it so that region has two mid-majors advance. Alabama can certainly get beat by a team like Rhode Island, just like NC State was earlier in the year. Louisville, I already talked about the fact that Vermont got pushed by them and crew. Should be interesting to say the least. You have Michigan in this spot as well. Wow, Texas is going through hell right now. If you don't end up going against somebody like Louisville, you will end up going against somebody like Michigan, right? Michigan is a team that I feel like had a lot of almost moments, and this is their time to actually get to pass those almost, right? Obviously wrecking the rest of the Big Ten, beating close game, overtime game against Ohio. You guys remember the fact that they pushed UCLA. You guys remember the fact that they were able to push somebody like UConn. I think that they can beat Texas if everything works out well. Holy Cross is another organization, just like I said before, who are always in the dance, a very good program. Shout out to Holy Cross. I don't know how well they'll be able to do against a team like Michigan, but Holy Cross is a very good organization, perpetually in the dance. NC State, this is a funny ass. Brothers back and it's funny as fuck. They give UConn pretty easy. They give UCLA some challenges, but you know, they should be able to work out. Man, you might have it so NC State advances. I doubt they're able to beat not only Tennessee, but then also Michigan. We could get a weekend one upset with NC State and Tennessee. Tennessee could advance. And then Michigan, if they're able to beat all those teams, then we do have a situation in which we see maybe like some mid-majors go against each other. Maybe NC State is able to make it past Michigan, and if they are, they're going against Rhode Island, in which they ended up losing to. That's a funny-ass fucking bracket, bro. Shout out to the committee, some goddamn motherfucking messy-ass bitches, bro. Wagering how many commercials each game has, I'm in. Duke literally going to beat LSU. I said that, Katie. That is that's entirely possible for Duke to go ahead and beat LSU, especially this version of Duke. Gang, I'm happy I randomly checked your email and saw you live. These brackets so good right now, and I had no one to talk about it with. Hey, man. Yo, Wayne, I need you to join the stream. Bracket challenge is obviously pinned right there in the comment section. I think that if Texas ends up going to the Final Four, this is by far one of the hardest brackets. Fort Worth 2 is a fucking bloodbath, bitch. Like, the committee messy as fuck, and I love it. So, Wayne, come ahead. Let's talk about it. I want to do a DR Venezuela final so badly. We got UCLA on our side of the bracket. People will just brush it over because we smoked them. They would. I haven't felt an adrenaline rush from sports like I did last night. Hoiso Dominicana. Yeah, wait. Roddy, you are Venezuelan, aren't you? Or Colombia? I forget which one. Shout out to you, though. I just want UConn and Gamecocks to lose. Well, guess what? UConn's passed to the Final Four. They ain't losing until they go against one of South Carolina, who is going to be on their side of the bracket. And I feel like this South Carolina team, this version, I feel like UConn should be able to take advantage of them. I don't think that they're going to lose until the Natty. If they lose, you know? It's just like that. UCLA going all the way, this shit rigged. I hate the committee. I'm irritated as fuck. I hope Iowa State upsets it. I hope Oregon makes it all the way to the Natty and wins. I'm just irritated. Yeah, Katie. Let's just say at least you aren't Texas fans right now, because Texas, I feel like, by far has the worst schedule. You guys should be able to beat a team like LSU, right? You guys should be able to beat a team like Ole Miss. But Texas, I don't know if they can beat teams like Michigan. I don't know if they can beat teams like Louisville. They should be able to take care of Louisville. Who else is in that region, right? They have a lot of teams that they need to go against that are going to be very fun. So Tani's gambling has got to go back to the Dodgers. Kentucky on UCLA side, y'all should be able to take care of UCLA, of Kentucky. I ain't worried about that. Looking for around Miami, Ohio in that first out tourney. Hey man, at least they're there, right? Bro, where's that chatter that said to watch out for Raw? Where is that chatter, bro? Where is that chatter? That chatter knew saw through the matrix. They understood. I would buy that chatter a drink right now, bro. I don't even got money like that. I would buy him a drink just because he did it. I think they might take out Alabama. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm telling you, Alabama and Vermont have a real possibility of making it to the second weekend. Real possibility. I'm friends with the manager of Rhode Island. Katie, you're friends with everybody, bro. Holy Cross losing by 15. Yes, but shout out to Holy Cross, though. They're a supreme institution who have been in the dance ever since the Caitlin Clark days. They've been in the dance every single year. So what's that, 22, 4 straight years of being in the tournament? Gotta give them props, man. Poor Rhode Island. I don't know, man. I think Rhode Island can make a dance. That NC State versus Tennessee game gonna be very interesting. I'll tell you that. NC State has some amazingly bad scoring droughts, but as you see in Tennessee, there's some amazingly bad discipline going on in Knoxville. So we'll see what's happening. If they're able to pull it together, Tennessee could absolutely win that. It's just a question of how bought in are these Tennessee players. That's the real question. I got us going to the same team we played 2 years. Yes, literally all the same matchups, except for make me Texas if they make it. And if not, then you have to face Michigan, right? I think it's entirely possible that Michigan can make it to the Final Four, guys, as we are bringing it back. Muffet is pulling a Shaq and punching holes in the walls and shit. Pat, you know, I agree with Muffet, but I would love to see it, right? Obviously, the final number 1 seed is none other than South Carolina. They're going to go ahead and lap it up, clap it up. Shout out to them. Don Staley and crew doing their thing once again. They make sense of the Final Four speed, especially after losing to Texas. They knew that, right? Oh, Vandy gets into their ass. Who? UConn? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think they should be able to test UConn, but beat UConn? I'm not very sure, right? I'm not friends with Jada Brown. Who's Jada Brown? Why not, right? Southern and Sanford, so that's interesting. I think Southern University might be able to do this thing again. Same coach, same players as last year. Man, they had a cold-ass player. I forgot her name. In Southern University. Shout out to the HBCU love. And shout out to you, Spillage, because I know you've been tracking that swaction, baby. All right, Clemson right now. Wow, Clemson made it to the dance. No way that Clemson made it to the dance. What is that, like 4 or 5? 5 ACC teams? 6, right? Because Syracuse made it. I don't know about Clemson making it to the dance. That's crazy surprising, but shout out to them. Them against USC, I don't know, man. It depends on which version of USC. If we see the defense of USC like we're supposed to, they should be able to advance past Clemson. Then we get South Carolina versus Clemson. That's a rivalry. South Carolina beat that ass, and should be able to beat that ass even if USC does push them, which I do expect USC to be able to go against Clemson and get that win. Oklahoma. The committee messy as fuck, bro. Oklahoma did end up beating South Carolina during the regular season, took an overtime, and took none other than Aaliyah Chavez, one of the friends of Bordy McBoard, putting her cape on. They should be able to go against each other if they're able to make it to the round of 16, right? I think it's a Sweet 16, but who knows? Or round of 32, I believe. I don't know, my math, right? They're going against Idaho. You the only hoe I see, baby. So that'll be interesting. Oklahoma going against Idaho should be easy. Let's see what this 5 and this 12 seed, how that looks out, right? She plays in Vandy. Oh, she plays in Vandy. How the fuck did they get an 8 seed? I don't know. The committee's just making shit up, bro. The committee really don't watch no fucking basketball. Anyway, Michigan State. Shout out to the committee. Michigan State. Michigan State and Oklahoma. Hey, depending on what version of Oklahoma we see, though, Michigan State could easily end up beating somebody like Oklahoma. Now, if they end up going against South Carolina, I don't think we're going to see much from them. But Michigan State, Rashonda Jones and crew, Blair's a very good point guard. They will have to go against Colorado State, who I actually did watch some of their game. Very good, strong defensive team. Michigan State should be able to handle them pretty soundedly, but you know, maybe things can be interesting. I don't know if they will be, but shout out to Colorado for making it, right? TCU going to be in this region as well, so South Carolina potentially going against LSU in the Sweet 16, Elite 8, maybe Elite 8. I think it would is how they would have to do it, right? South Carolina about to beat the brakes off of whoever wins that Sanford Southern game, you know, right? I'm sorry, I'm laughing my ass off if Clemson beats USC because that's a definite possibility. It's very definite possibility, right? UC San Diego. Shout out to my girl Cece on the timeline. She's been keeping a close track on them. Very fun team. Can shoot some threes, obviously, but TCU scores a lot more threes. They're much more of an offensive powerhouse, so I think that TCU should be able to get and take care of business pretty easily, right? We could go to the Elite Eight. It's entirely possible that you guys could go to the Elite Eight, but a very irrational Final Four. Will Don Staley and crew lose to somebody like Oklahoma twice, especially considering the fact that Oklahoma is just a consistently up and down team? That Sweet 16 is looking more possible, but the Elite Eight can definitely be on the table, right? My girls, Washington, are going against South Dakota State. Shout out to South Dakota State. Looks like North Dakota might be able to take that region. South Dakota swooped in the end and did their thing. Shout out to Jax fan. Going against Washington, a very fun team as well. Washington versus TCU will be fun. But then we have Iowa coming into the building right there a little bit further along. Let me tell you a little bit about Washington and TCU. If Washington is able to play a very good offensive game and disrupt defensively on TCU, then they should have a chance. But disrupt defensively for TCU and Washington, they kind of don't work in the same sentence, at least not consistently. So TCU should be able to wrap up that region, I think, pretty well. But Washington will make it a little bit fun, right? Iowa going against Fairfield Dickinson. Fairfield has always been a very good team, very great team. Georgia made it.
Coach Abe knows how to coach defense. This Georgia team knows how to play defense. They only give up 61 points a game. That is what's going to carry them in this NCAA tournament.
Okay, shout out to Carnegie. Shout out to Carnegie Hall. I love that girl. That's SEC bias, baby. ACC and SEC bias going crazy hard right now. Georgia will end up going against a team like Virginia or Arizona State. So, wait, what about teams like George Mason? George Mason didn't make the dance? Richmond ended up making a dance, but George Mason ended up making the dance. Georgia made the dance. George Mason didn't make the dance. Shout out to my nigga Georgia. Okay. All right, cool. Fairleigh Dixon, I hate you. I hate you, Decline. How many brackets I'm allowed? You're allowed 3 brackets, right? I know I'm going to have a serious bracket. I'm going to have a more upset version of brackets, and I'm going to have a completely unserious bracket. But guys, it's looking like everything is wrapped up when it comes to the entire bracket. Where the heck? Why the hell did Georgia make it? And Richmond was on the bubble, but George Mason didn't make it? George Mason went against Rhode Island in the A10 championship. So, and George Mason ended up beating Richmond. So, bro, I've never been more unsatisfied with the committee, bro. Texas by far has the worst bracket. In you guys' opinion, path to the Final Four of the top #1 seeds, who has the hardest journey? Because in my opinion, pretty easily Texas. Pretty easily Texas. I think it's entirely possible that Michigan ends up making it to the Final Four. It's entirely possible. Why the fuck didn't George Mason make it? I'm so fucking sorry. That's really making me mad. South Carolina about to beat the brakes off whoever. We are consistently inconsistent. You are definitely right, Silky. Yeah. Man, the committee watched a total of 10 games. It's sad. What are these teams? The fact that we have so many SEC teams, so many ACC teams is ridiculous. Teams like Georgia, I didn't think that Tennessee should have made it, and if Tennessee did make it, they should have been a bubble team. In my opinion, obviously, they would have ended up getting into the tournament, right? But, like, I think they should have been a bubble team. Georgia making it is hilarious. Nebraska even being a first 4 out is insane, but Richmond being a first 4 out, and George Mason, who beat Richmond, and it was Rhode Island and George Mason playing in the A10 season closer. It's insane to me. It is fundamentally, certifiably insane to me. that they were not able to make it to the dance. But you know,
Think the best of the best don't herd together?
shout out my nigga Gucci. You know. Some schools are going to be pissed if not already. I am pissed for George Mason. I'm not gonna act like I've been the most locked into A10 hoops, but I know that they should have gone ahead, and that makes me upset. I'm not gonna lie. They pulled these names out of a hat, right? Texas has it worse, then USC, UCLA, and then UConn, right? Yeah, I feel that, right? Texas, I really feel like it's anybody's to win. It's anybody's to be beat. Anybody can be beat, like Rakim said, right? South Carolina has a fairly good. For South Carolina, could be difficult because they're going against teams like Oklahoma, who end up beating them in the regular season. You might have a team like TCU, where I feel like they should take care of business against TCU, but if TCU is shooting well, they could make it spicy on a team like South Carolina. UConn, obviously, as Pat said before, pretty easy. I don't see anybody even really like making it interesting on them. Maybe Vandy makes it interesting on them. I just think that Vandy interior presence just isn't going to be able to get it done. Shout out to Sandra Washington. And Moinintana is a very good. I love Moinintana. I just don't. I'm not seeing it. Man, Tennessee and Georgia making it. Clemson making it? The fuck? Okay, sure. Gas was pissed with this bracket, by the way. As she should be. I think, and you know what? We are going to see the ramifications of something like this start to pop up, right? And Notre Dame losing to Fairfield. Okay, Pat. Hey, maybe. I haven't watched a lot of action. I'm not going to lie. I did say Vermont and I did say Rhode Island could absolutely win, right? Vermont beating Louisville. Rhode Island beating, I believe, what team was it? We're going to write all of it in, but it could absolutely happen. But yeah, if I were UCLA, I'd be pissed. I honestly believe, let's be honest, this happened to Don Staley, 2-3 years ago? And Don, ever since, has started to schedule less out-of-season, really tough matchups. I wonder if the ripple effect, especially if UCLA, because UCLA isn't able to get that number 1 seed, I wonder if the ripple effect is now coaches aren't going to try in their out-of-conference schedule. I wonder, I wonder if there's a couple of years of lulls where top teams say we don't need challenges because we're not going to get a reward from them, right? I wonder, but who knows, right? What are your bracket busters for this year's tournament? I said Rhode Island. I said Vermont. Tennessee, I feel like will also get an upset. Michigan ending up beating Texas and going to the Final Four. Entirely possible, right? A real out of frame of mind crazy scenario would be if Oklahoma is somehow able to beat South Carolina. I don't know if they'll have enough energy to then go ahead and beat somebody like a TCU in that region as well. But who knows, right? Ball in their court, who knows? Those are the initial reactions, but as I manually fill it out, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that's going to be revealed in the selection zone, which I don't believe there is, so we can start to manually put in some of our names into the bracket, right? Rhode Island, right? Indy losing to Fairfield, yep. Fairfield has good guards, so they need to bear in the paint. I don't think Indy has enough post presence. Yeah, Notre Dame does not have a great post presence. Shout out to Malaya Caldwell. I always get her name wrong. Caldwell down low. She can have her moments where she's really good, but defensively she's not great. Cassandra Prosper is a very good defender. Post defender, not as well as perimeter defender, but when it comes to if Fairfield has a good enough post presence, you tell me, Pat, then that's entirely possible that Notre Dame ends up losing, right? More hoops, more madness, more Bordy. Hey, I can't wait, guys. Remember, exclamation point bracket. Tommy, I don't think you joined it last year. You don't have to. But obviously, if you guys want to join into the action, exclamation point bracket. You should have an email if you participated last year to, I think, automatically join it. I believe Pat is the only one that has joined in so far, or at least prior to the madness starting. Remember, you have up to 3 brackets to join on in. You can make up to 3 brackets, I'm sorry. I believe that Roddy ended up getting 2 brackets as the top 2, and I believe the third was Pat, I think. So guys, try to beat Roddy. That's the question. That's the quest, right? Quez was up there too. I think Quez was number 4. So beating Roddy, make sure you do it, okay? Just join. Come on into the Actions Village. Let's go. There's a possibility I might be able to throw some bones at you depending on what my financial situation looks like in about a month. It just depends. It just depends. So whoever wins, get your Cash App ready, all right? It's probably not going to be more than $25, if not $10, but I might be able to do that for you, okay? The passport word is !hater. !hater if you would like to join, okay? !hater. I lost to Roddy twice in the same year. Yes, he did. I don't want no money. I just want to win. Right, yeah. And if you don't want the money, fair on me, right? Will you buy me a UCLA shirt? For you, Katie, yes, I would. I will not be able to do that for anybody else because financially, yikes. But sure, for you, Katie, absolutely. Right on, you know? Actually, yeah, sure, why not? I don't care, sure. If one of the children end up advancing, I will end up buying a shirt from them. How about that? For the grown adults, though, you don't get more than $10, bro. I'm telling you. For the grown adults, no. For the children, though, absolutely. W more to give, yeah. If I win, we pay for hell no. Declan A, you know I love you dearly. Hell! Bitch, I can barely pay for mine. Damn, not even enough for gas money. Nope. You can get 2 gallons over here at Boredom and Board. That's about it. You can get 2 gallons here at Boredom and Board. The children can get more because I believe the children are our future, right? They didn't make no money. Let them have their fun before they go to college, right? Because I think that next year both of them are going to college, right? I believe. Nah, but everybody else, fuck no. Fuck no, $10, maybe 25. If I'm feeling real good, like if I made money in that short amount of time, I'm not sure. We don't know. But I think that's all that this selection show TV show is going to give for us right now, which means that, guys, I have my bracket done behind me. So